Welcome to this week's episode of The Powerhouse Effect. I'm Amy Gregory. I'm one of EXP's top recruiters and the founder of Powerhouse, a national organization of over 800 agents who are done leaving money on the table. Every episode, you're going to hear from a real agent. In this case, we have a team today who made the leap and never looked back. Today, we have Jessica and Brad Matern with us, and they have done insane amounts of production, and I can't wait to share their story with you. So Jessica and Brad, give us a quick introduction, like where you guys are located and what your production looked like before moving your business to EXP and Powerhouse.
Sure. So we're based out of the Dallas, Texas market, and I got into the business about 10 years ago. Brad joined me 2 years later. And last year we were at another company and we did about 37 million in volume, 81 units in that calendar year. And we have a small team. So it's just three of us producing agents. So we like to subscribe to the model of a small but mighty team.
Okay, I love this. Tell me a little bit about, so you started and then Brad jumped in with you. Tell me like how that went, because I think this is a story familiar like, for a lot of people where, and I have a similar story where I start selling real estate and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, there's no ceiling on this and I could actually use some help. Is that kind of how it went for you and Brad?
Yeah. Do you want to tell that story?
There's multiple sides of the story.
Yeah,
Jessica, we got married in 2015 and Jessica was in fundraising and private school sector, and I was working to transition out of the golf business, and I was working in commercial construction. And so we got married in August of 2015. In spring of 2016, Jessica's like, I'm tired of doing what I'm doing and I'm going into real estate. It's like, okay, we're going to do this. And I knew how competitive she is and that we were going to make it work. And sure enough, she did. I mean, she started off with a team and then, it was off to the races from there. She became a solo agent. I was pursuing my license just to have it so I could help her out, like with open houses, and I
lock
just thought it'd be a good
boxes,
idea.
all the things. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be a good idea to have a license. Plus, I heard about this thing called door knocking, and I was like, what the heck are you doing that for? And so as I was getting closer to getting my license towards the end of 2017, 2018, I was like, I don't like what I'm doing anymore either. And so
Yeah.
I was, can you give me, what would it look like for me to join you? And she's like, I'll give you like 90 days. I was like, fair.
I love this.
And
It sounds very familiar.
yeah, I'm on, I don't know how many probation periods I've been renewed, but I'm still here. So that was in 2018.
Okay, so I want to hear, you started out, Jessica, as like a brand new little baby agent. You join a team. And what were your splits like on the team and what was your lead source?
So I was the only agent in the Dallas market area for our team. My team was based
Okay.
out of a city about 3 hours away. It happened to be my sister-in-law's team. So when we
Okay, that's right.
split,
Yes.
yeah, when we split, it was very uncomfortable, as you can imagine. Breaking
Hmm.
up working with family is a whole other dynamic.
Yeah.
Um, but the lead source was Zillow leads at the time. And the Zillow leads, they don't know you from Adam next door. They just need you to come open the door. So I was learning baptism by fire on how to convert leads and show properties. And like in our market in the big city, you need to get a buyer representation agreement signed. Now, this is 10 years ago before it was required to show. And the city that they were in, it was kind of like the Wild Wild West. They just didn't operate that way. They sent it at the
Yeah.
time of sending an offer. So I was almost teaching them, how we were doing things here.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And so tell me, because I've talked to other agents too that were working with Zillow leads, and some were paying $1,800 a month, other were paying 35% splits. And whether it's Zillow or any other like online lead source, that is the math on those types of leads. Was the math similar on yours?
yeah, I don't know exactly how much she was paying for those Zillow leads. I'm thinking it was somewhere in the $5,000 per month range.
Hmm.
And then we had a 50-50 split on our production. And
Yeah.
then I was also, like I said, a brand new agent. I was the only one in the office. I was in charge of hiring other people. I was in charge of all of the operations basically in that office and teaching other people as they came onto the team. So it was a
So
lot.
So you start kind of like as a team member, and you're what you're describing to me is you're turning into a team leader kind of in real time. And what's the internal like dialogue? Because it's a lot.
It is a lot. And I found the most success that I was having was with leads. Like Brad mentioned, I went door knocking, I hosted open houses, my sphere of influence, all of the things that didn't actually cost any money per se were the things that I was having the most success with. And these Zillow leads were kind of like a waste of my time.
Mhm.
And I was seeing how much, roughly how much money she was spending on these things every month. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm focusing on the things that people that I already know or that I'm
Mhm.
meeting organically through this business. Like that's where I need to double down on my efforts. And so when you start to do the math and add things up, it's like, why, I had bigger dreams for myself,
Yeah.
and I could see the light, like I could figure out how to get it done.
So you do this and then you decide to go out on your own, which is a fairly normal pattern for like a brand new agent to be on a team. And then they tend to go out on their own because very similar to you, they're like, they start doing the math and they say, well, I can start lead generating on my own. Because lead generation is a big key piece of the business. And once an agent figures out like, okay, I know how to do this now and they have the confidence to do that, they do tend to go out on their own. So what was it like as now you're out on your own? What does your business look like now in that
Well,
stage?
yeah, at that point, I was out on my own. I was working 7 days a week. Brad had his full-time job, and he would have off on the weekends, and that was my busy time, was on the weekends. We never
Mhm.
saw each other anymore. And that's when the conversation started happening about like, well, what if you got into this business? What would that look like?
Mhm.
I mean, at the time, units wise, I think I was producing about probably 24 to 30 units on my own, roughly.
Mhm.
I'm not really sure the volume at the time, but it was 50% more in my bank account, if not
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So,
Brad then gets his license. You guys start doing like more production, higher units, all of the things. At what point are you even thinking about Powerhouse and EXP? Like, when does that thought come to your mind? Because it seems like business is going fine.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
we never thought about looking around. Until one day, really two good friends of ours that we go on regular date nights. They were both in our market center at the time. All of us were there together in the same office for a decade,
Mhm.
and or for them a little bit longer. And we were at date night, and they came back from your Rise retreat, and they could not stop talking about EXP and you and all the things like all the magic. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, we are on date night. Can we just like zip it? I don't want to think about this. I don't want to make a move. I have never looked around. Can we just be on date night? I don't want to think about work.
Yeah, work. Yeah. And
So then they left and went to EXP simultaneously. And then we were looking at each other like, are we missing something?
Yeah.
Should we be looking around? What does that look like? So the
yeah,
wheels
because they're heavy hitters in your market. They both have built.
Mhm.
You're referring to Amy Maynard and Lindsay Knight, and they came to Rise, and I didn't even know them. Like I had never really met them or talked to them, and then quickly we talked after Rise, and they moved their licenses pretty quickly, and I was like, okay, this is great. And so one of the things at EXP is you can name your sponsor, right? And technically, under EXP's ICA, your sponsor is actually required to do nothing for you. That just didn't make sense to me. And I was looking for community inside my own business because I'm over here building as a female solo agent. And I'm like, what are we all doing next? Which is a very common thing inside of real estate where you're kind of every now and again you lift your head up and look around and ask, am I missing something? And so you kind of have this moment where you're like, am I missing something? And so do you start talking to Amy and Lindsay? And how does that conversation go?
Well, that was the thing. Like when they first announced, it's like, okay, great. Like, okay, they left. And then it's like, we're not leaving. We're happy. We're fine where we are. And then the more they were talking about it and the more we were watching how they were getting started, it was like, not that we weren't unhappy with where we're at, but it's like, is there more out there? Like we've never shopped around, we've never looked. We
Mm-hmm.
never felt like we needed to. But then we started to really look internally and it's like, well, maybe we've reached our ceiling where we're at. Maybe it's time to look at other areas. And so we started exploring and even had the conversations with our coach who is at a different brokerage. And he's like, you need to take 30 days, mark your calendar from today, 30 days from now, you need to make a decision. Explore everybody, have conversations, talk to anybody and everybody, and just decide, are you staying where you are or are you moving?
That's
And
actually a great coach.
yeah,
That's a
and
great coach.
either option is okay.
Yeah.
And so we did that. We did our due diligence. We asked all the questions. We talked to a lot of people in multiple places. And when it came down to it, it's like, this aligns with who we are and what we want to do. We want to be with community with different perspectives, but still, be aligned with who we are and what we're about and how we built our business and how we want to grow. And yeah, the decision that we made was like, we've been excited since day one. It's been really good for us.
So tell me, like, what was the opportunity that you really saw at like Powerhouse and EXP? Like, what was the thing you're like, okay, I like that opportunity, and that's where, because moving your license is a pain. It, there's no, it's like moving into a new house. Yes, this is my dream house. Also, I have to box everything up and move,
Mhm.
and there, it's a pain point to it. So, what was the opportunity that was big enough to be like, yeah, it's worth doing?
Well, that and you're responsible for other people. It's not just like me and Brad moving houses, it's
Yeah,
our
having a
whole
family.
team
Yeah.
and the support people, everybody, luckily everybody came with us and everyone saw the opportunity. So the opportunity we saw when we did that 30-day exercise was we knew when we had narrowed it down to only cloud-based brokerages. We thought, okay, we feel like we may be boxed into our four walls where we were,
Mhm.
and the other, call it 250 to 275 agents in this building may not have all the answers all the time.
Mhm.
And that's who we have access to every week. So let's look at cloud-based. And then we had it narrowed down to really just two companies.
Mhm.
And we did the spreadsheets, we did the math. And when you look at the math, we chose the not cheapest option.
Mhm.
And we chose the option that had the most opportunities for support and networking and ideas, masterminding, like-minded thinking, but also challenges us to really look with a magnifying glass on our business to see how this could be better.
Mhm.
A group that is encouraging us to think about what happens when we don't sell real estate one day.
Yeah.
Those are
Well,
all
isn't
things.
that, I feel like a lot of real estate agents don't ever ask that question of like, at what point are we done selling real estate? I mean, then we kind of look at it from a perspective of, and I don't know why this was always at the forefront of my mind, but it was always at the forefront of my mind. Um, where it's like, a surgeon can only operate for so long until at some point it's not safe, right? And we see it like, if you're a professional athlete, well, you can only be a professional athlete for so long. And for whatever reason, real estate agents think they are immune from that. And I am unclear on why there is unclarity on that. So let's, what, I mean, like, what are you building towards so that if it's not to say you don't like selling real estate or that you're not selling real estate tomorrow, but if at some point you would like to retire, what do you think that looks like for you?
Well, I think coming from where we did, the path to success was kind of
Mhm.
laid out for you. Here's the model.
Mhm.
You start as a solo, you build the team, you take on the leverage, you take on the expenses, you take on the overhead, and then whenever you look up, you're like, wait a second. I've got, like, as the team owner, I'm actually taking home less than some of our paid W-2 employees. And the only benefit I have a lot of times is the tax benefits
Oh,
and the
I
write-offs.
I did a deep dive because when I was a solo agent, right, and you start being like, well, I'm pretty good at this. They tell you, I don't know who they is, but just generally in the industry, it would be like, okay, now you build a local team. And I did a deep dive. I mean, I remember calling my husband and being like, I don't know, maybe you just should quit your job and help me run this local team. I think that's what I'm supposed to do next. But I started doing the math. And again, I had four kids. I mean, this is like in 2021, right? So like I'm homeschooling four kids and then thinking about taking on all the overhead of a local team. And I think I would have rather just, if my option was build a local team or quit real estate altogether, I think I would have quit real estate altogether. When I looked down the pipeline of what it actually meant to build like a local team, generally how it is built inside of real estate. Is that fair?
Here's what most people miss, I think. Okay, when you are on a team, you get to take home, let's just call it 50% of the commission. You get to put that in your pocket, and you really don't have a lot of expenses to get there.
The team carries all that.
The team carry and the risk, the liability, and the expenses. As the team owner, I take 100% of every commission check and give it back to the business.
Yeah.
I don't get paid until the business makes a profit.
Yeah.
So I should be a team member on my own team. I'd make more money.
Yes. But that's sobering math. Yeah. And it's also a risk and liability exposure where you're like, whoa, if something goes wrong and it's this ding dong on my team over here, which obviously you're not hiring that person. You're trying not to, but we all know real estate transactions can get messy sometimes. And I was just like, I won't sleep at night. I won't sleep at night. Yeah. It's a lot. So tell me a little bit, like, what was the first thing? Like, you move your license over to EXP and Powerhouse, and how does your business shift from there?
Well, it's just funny enough for us, the same week that we moved our license over, our director of operations, who had been with us for 6 years, took another opportunity where she lived. And so we had to really think about alignment, just getting set up. And we took about probably a good 6 weeks not out of our business, but laid off of the accelerator on lead gen a little bit during that time while we could just get set up. And that wasn't because of the transition. That was because we lost a team member that had a really high touch on everything in our business. So we kind of had to wrap our arms around it again. And then once we came over in the middle of November, and then once January hit, we really hit the ground running. I told you this before, but in January of this year, we made more in revenue share in 1 month than we did our entire 10-year career at our former company in profit share. And
that's wild.
Yeah. The opportunity is massive. And that's not even transactions. That's just revenue share. And then in April, we tripled that number.
That's wild. And here's the thing that's so I think agents just don't want to talk about it, or I'm not really sure what the hesitation is on rev share, because I moved my license to EXP because of the rev share opportunity. Because again, like I was at another brokerage, and I loved my brokerage. They were great. It was awesome. But I was a solo agent and I was doing well. And they were like, hey, if you want to recruit other agents, like, to come to the brokerage, we'll cut you into their splits and you can help train them and like whatever. Like, they were going to set it up so that I would make money, like doing that work and helping them build their brokerage. I didn't even know that was a thing. And I was like, oh, but my brain was like, okay, that's a good way. Like, they make money, I make money, and the agent also closes more deals, which makes them more money. And so then when I ran into EXP, I was like, oh, this is just like on a whole other level, because it's international, right? And I was already using social media. And so I really did move my business to pursue that opportunity. And sometimes I think in the real estate world, people kind of turn their nose up at that. And I'm like, but we're business owners and we should be building revenue and it should be sustainable. Right. And so what was your perception of rev share prior to EXP?
Prior to EXP, it was called profit share. So all this overhead from having a physical location and staff and people, and with people comes problems and all this stuff. Then after you filter all of that out, that's what profit share is. Whereas the model is flipped on its head at EXP, which is revenue share. It's off the top.
Yeah.
So because there's not any overhead, because there's not any office space, and we chose as a team to have our own office space, and that the revenue share we've made for it more than covers our office expense. It more than covers, like, like that's a no-brainer to be able to have that. And not that we would need it forever, but I think it's our perception of what revenue share was before we got here was that, okay, maybe you might see some every once in a while. And then once you get over here, you're like, no, this is not guaranteed money, but this is a real huge opportunity.
It's a huge opportunity. And I think that's what's so fun inside of Powerhouse is because agents, I've heard, I live my life on the internet, so I get a lot of feedback from the internet. But it's like, oh my gosh, you moved your license to EXP and then you like never close another transaction. And I was just like, okay, again, I have 4 kids at home and I can only, again, if I'm a surgeon, I can only operate on so many patients in a day. As a real estate agent, I can only close so many deals at a certain level in a day. And so my time is actually better spent teaching agents how to lead gen their own deals, right? Like you learned how to lead gen your own deals, which is say increase your profit margins, 30 to 50%, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, I don't have as much volume attached to my own personal name anymore, but Powerhouse is doing, I want to say we did over 3 billion in production last year. And XP, I think we produce one of the most productive agents. And so you say like, well, that's the best way for me to multiply myself is I'm finding. And I actually think for agents that are wanting to do the husband and wife team, have a small, I like to call it like a micro team where you're running a really efficient team. And it's because you're not, do you buy online lead sources or how does people on your team, you just teach them to lead generate?
Yep.
How does it work?
I mean, we have a system in our database set up for here's who you need to call every day. And it's pretty straightforward. If you are like, who should I call today? Log into your database and we'll tell you.
CRM, your phone
Yeah.
is your register. I mean,
Yeah.
really.
The team
Yeah.
produces a newsletter, e-newsletter. We do a little bit of farming. So that's the only thing that we pay for is like some postcards every month and some printed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think print is dead. I think you're
Oh,
standing
I
out
love
by,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, every time I've been the one that's like, we got to get rid of print. We're spending too much money on print. And then as soon as I put that out there in the universe that we're getting rid of print, people just magically come out. It's like, oh, I got your newsletter. Oh, I love your newsletter. It's like, okay, we're
Dang it.
keeping.
Okay, keep them print.
So it does work. And yeah, it's an expense, but yeah, people love it.
Yeah, I love it. So looking back, how long have you've been at Powerhouse? What, since November?
Mhm.
So less than a year, 9 months ish, probably. Is that, am I
Yep.
mathing
Less
it
than
right?
that. Yep.
Um, what would you say, like, has it been a good move? Have you been happy with the move? What would you say, like, looking back to someone who's in a similar situation and they're trying to figure out if Powerhouse is a good spot for them?
Well, I think anytime you move to a cloud-based brokerage, I think the fear is that you're just going to kind of get lost and it's like, where are my people?
Mm-hmm.
And that was what was such a um, realization light bulb moment for us with Powerhouse was like, my people are in this mastermind every single week at the same time. I have a directory of people that I know are doing business similar to me or better that I can pick up the phone and call and they will take my call. Like there is no opportunity to get lost. The only opportunity is if you don't plug in. Right.
Yeah.
So, our experience has been almost like drinking out of a fire hose. Like there's so many ideas that you have to narrow it down and be like, okay, what am I going to implement this quarter? I can't do it all. So
Yeah.
what's going to be good for my business in that respect? What would you say?
Well, like you said earlier, I mean, it was like moving a house, moving a family. So there was a transition period, but then it was almost like you're drinking from a fire hose. Like there was so much information coming at us. It's like, where do we plug in?
Yeah.
But, for us, it was like really taking a deep breath, looking at everything and like dialing in. It's like, okay, this is what we're going to focus on. This is who we need to follow. These are the calls we need to be on. And you get
Mm-hmm.
out what you put in. I mean, if you put the effort in, like then you're gonna see the results. Like your results aren't random. It all comes down to the amount of work that you put into it and the resources available to us with Powerhouse. I mean, it's almost endless. I mean, it's been great for us, really, and we've been able to take advantage of it, and it's been really, really good for us.
Well, we always say that. I always tell agents, like, when you come over, like, it is kind of like having a buffet of successful businesses to like look
Yeah.
at and glean from. And a lot of agents will share resources, systems. I mean, they'll just email you the document and you're like, okay, great. I don't have to reinvent this. But I always say, like, when you go to an all you can eat buffet, you don't eat everything on the buffet. Like, you kind of have 4 to 6 things that you eat a lot of. And inside your real estate business, you should really just have 4 to 6 things that really create all the momentum inside your business. And so I'm always like, please don't overeat when you first get to Powerhouse, but you're not going to feel good afterwards. So who are the people inside of Powerhouse that you've loved learning from? I'm curious to know, because you guys are a husband and wife team. I run like a female solo agent business. I love learning from you guys, but who have you guys liked learning from inside of Powerhouse?
I mean, outside of Amy and Lindsay, who we already knew before, I would say Catherine McInturf has been fantastic for us. I attended her retreat in January up in Washington, and that was really a big game changer. We ended up making some pretty big moves in our business as a result of some things I came away from that retreat learning. So I would say her, and then Desiree Renshaw. She's been great too. And then even at the Rise retreat, I mean, Shaylee Clark and Julie Ford and some of the other people that you had on stage there that I've seen every week in our masterminds. It was really cool to meet them in person and hear about their businesses. Everybody has such a unique niche of what their skill sets are. And I think that's what we're trying to work on, which is helping other people who are in family and business together. I mean, it's a very unique situation to be in, of either working with your spouse or a family member or a husband, brother, sister, you name it, mother, daughter. So I think that's what we're trying to build, is a community for people to find some solace in that and to help each other and look at the different models, see what could pick up little things that could work for them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. I've learned so much from Jessica and Brad and watching them build their team, and they always are inside Powerhouse contributing. And again, it creates this buffet of successful businesses for agents to look to. It's like, show me your friends and I'll show you your life, right? And this is like a great group of friends, because we all feel like friends in here. If their story sounds familiar, that's because it probably is. And this is what happens inside of Powerhouse. If you are wondering what the Powerhouse effect could feel like to you, reach out to me, reach out to Jessica, reach out to Brad. We would be happy to help you. And if this episode hit home, share it with one agent who needs to hear it. That's how we grow this community. I'm Amy Gregory. This is the Powerhouse Effect, and I will see you guys next week.